It's open enrollment season for those who don't get health insurance through their employer. So if you're looking to purchase health insurance for yourself or your family, then you're in the right place because we're sharing open enrollment tips to help you make the best decision possible. Hi, and welcome back to Stop Being Sold. My name is Michelle, and I'm here with my good friend Brian. And while we know this isn't the sexiest topic in the world, it's a really important one, especially when the wrong move could cost you a lot more than you originally planned.
Yeah, that's so true, Michelle. There's a lot of choices, and it can be tricky figuring out which option's best, which is why we're making this video with tips to make the process just a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So think about this. Open enrollment for plans through the Affordable Care Act run now through, November 1st through January 15th in most states, okay? During open enrollment, you have a time frame where you can sign up for a plan or change your current plan. You can purchase healthcare from the government's exchange, Healthcare.gov,
Sure.
your state exchange, or directly from the insurance company. Okay. Now, Healthcare.gov is the marketplace for most of us, unless your state has their own marketplace. There's the key. 17 states have their own exchanges for residents of their own state.
You're right, this can get tricky. So before we dive in, if you like the content of this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Brian and I are putting out videos daily to help you make the most informed decision possible about your financial future. All right, Brian, so what's the first tip that you have for us?
First tip, pick the plan that fits your needs. Okay. And let me back up and explain the three types of plans.
Okay.
There are three main ones: PPO, HMO, HDHP. That's a lot of letters.
Woo. Okay, so we got PPO, HMO, and HDHP, correct?
Yeah, so PPO, a popular one, Preferred Provider Organization is what it stands for. It's popular because it's more flexible.
Sure.
There's no referral needed for a specialist from your primary doctor.
That's big.
And yeah, that's huge. And it allows you to go outside the network of doctors, but it usually costs more. That's the downside.
Okay.
Second one is an HMO, which is also known as Health Maintenance Organization, much more affordable, but you're required to stay in the network. You have to get referrals from your primary doctor to see a specialist, and the primary doctor coordinates all aspects of your care. So you got like a coach. There's your coach, but you don't do anything unless your coach tells you what to do.
Okay. All right. And what about the HDHP?
Also known as the high deductible health plan. Much lower premiums, but much higher deductibles. Yeah. That's why it's called the high deductible plan. You pay a lot less monthly, but if you need care, look out. When you need care, all your out-of-pocket costs are much, much higher.
Yeah, I always caution people about this last option because when I was younger, I got burned by selecting a plan with too high of a deductible. And by burned, I mean I had to borrow from my family and pretty much max out a credit card in order when I didn't have a big balance. So that's why. Sure. But, a limit, I should say. But to be able to cover the deductible when I needed it the most, because at the time I was like, oh, I'll never need this. Yeah, well, and granted, it was the only way I could afford the insurance at the time. But my downfall was actually that I didn't save for that deductible in case I needed it. So, I guess if you pick the last option, make sure you have savings set aside to cover the deductibles and those high, if there's whatever, I don't know, copay or what have you, whatever it's going, your out-of-pocket costs can be higher.
Total out-of-pockets.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about, another reason we talk about on this channel a lot about our number one priority is set up that emergency savings plan. So
100%. Yeah.
And, that's a good point, Michelle, and a great segue into the second tip, which is choose your options that fit your needs and your financial situation.
Got it.
Okay. Well, what you can do, a simple process is just make a chart to compare the following options. One line item is your premiums. What's the actual cost of the plan?
Sure.
Second, deductibles. What's your deductible?
Uh-huh.
And then third column, what are your copays? Where you share the cost with the insurance company, like doctor visits, emergency room visits, prescriptions. What about teledoc with the virtual appointments?
Right.
And you may find that the cheaper plans will cost you more in the long run if you actually have to use them benefits. So
Sure. So really what you're telling people is to chart it out, do the math, see what's more affordable and realistic for you to pay should you get sick or go to the ER.
exactly. By doing this, you can calculate your total out-of-pocket expense in case of an emergency. Then make sure you have enough savings to cover this just in case.
Okay. All right. So what's the next tip?
This is a big one. Make sure your doctor is in the network.
Yeah.
One big, and it happened with me last year. One big issue with healthcare is the fact that we don't want to change doctors we like just to save a little bit of money each year. So make sure you choose a plan that has your doctors in it. Check the insurance company's provider network.
Mm-hmm.
Also, see if your family doctors are in it, including your children's doctors, if your children have doctors.
Yeah.
Also, check for any specialists you may have.
Okay, so on this note, you mentioned the PPO option, the preferred provider organization option, that people can pay more, cost more, but they can go out of network. So if your doctor isn't in the network, in a network, like this is the option to select, correct?
Right. Or you have to find another doctor.
Okay.
Another option is to see if your doctor would accept cash payments. Some do.
Okay. All right. Got it. Yeah. I know I used to pay in cash a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
It was a lot cheaper, believe it or not.
Sure.
I mean, I don't blame them. How much does it cost to chase down insurance payments? So anyway.
Yeah, that's another expense. That's why insurance is so high. So
Right. Absolutely. All right. So what other tips do you have?
It boils basically down to this, Michelle. Choose a plan that totally fits your needs.
Okay.
Take the time to compare the different plans out there and know what you can afford and know what your risk tolerance is as far as the maximum out-of-pocket cost that you will incur. God forbid an emergency happens. So
Okay. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is sit down and chart it out. I've never done that. It's actually a really good idea to see what you're up against, what it's actually going to cost, because what seems like it might be more affordable up front can also cost you a lot more in the back end.
Sure
Doesn't
can.
always happen that way, but it can.
Yep.
All right. If you like the content of this video, hit that like button. Help us grow our channel. If you know someone who would find this information valuable for the video on, if you've got comments, drop them below and don't forget to subscribe. All right, Brian, thanks so much for explaining all this to us. And thanks to everyone who watched.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.